But really just working on your individual character, how you interact with the people in your life, because
Okay.
if you aren't in good relationship with your family before you have a husband, before you have a fiance, I think that you're also going to end up bringing him into complicated situations with parents and siblings and all of that. So I think that work on your relationship with your family members and your friends, and also kind of make the adjustment in your friend group that
Mhm.
that supports the fact that you want to be a wife and what type of wife you want to be. So it's not to say that you have to get rid of single friends, but you also have to set the standard that
Standard,
my
yeah.
friends have to support the fact that I'm going to be primarily focused on my family, my immediate family, my husband and my children. And if you ask the questions and say, hey, how do you guys feel about me getting married? And it's like, well, I don't want you to get, what about us? What about you might have
Right, right, right.
you might have to
Oh,
cut these people
seriously.
off. They might not make it.
Fact.
Changing your circle, and also just kind of refining your character, and putting yourself under a microscope and saying, well, what is it that I would kind of be annoyed with if my husband came in with it? If my husband came in with, inability to speak to me kindly, I'm going to check and see if I do that or if I don't do that, or inconsistency. I think that's the other, my husband's in the chat. That's the other thing.
Okay.
Focus on, like, if you are an inconsistent person, it's going to be hard for you to be a wife, because you don't have the ability to focus in and do the homemaking things and make the choices with your husband and stick with them. You're going to make it more of a complicated thing for your husband. So just character building and being consistent and working on the relationships you have with people.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. Also, shout out to your husband, Julian. Is it Spires?
Yes.
Right? In the chat, shout out to you. That's great. I mean, he's here supporting you already. It's good to see. I love seeing that kind of different stuff. You hit upon some really, really, really great points. I also loved how you clarified single ladies, because and I actually did a video about this. I'm planning on posting in the couple of days about my how I prepared for marriage. But you hear that right now. I think this whole topic of single ladies, and it's like you hear the extreme where it's like, either this dude, he has to be paying for me and all my friends, or I'm not giving him the time of day, or the other extreme, which is just like lose all your single friends. And I think it's healthy to add context to that. If just like, you want to lose all of your single friends that are not helping you get to your goal. So for example, me, when I decided, like, I wanted to get married, like I wasn't messing around. I still had some of my single friends, but every single person around me that was single also wanted to get married. So we got together and we started a prayer group, and we prayed every single week. We got together and prayed for our husbands, and like lo and behold, within a year, like we all met our husbands.
Same. That's literally the same thing. So we were
Oh, really?
we were the first to get married of our group. So all of our friends we met in college, and then so we got married first. We got engaged first, married first, and then all of my other girlfriends got married. Now we all are friends, so the husbands are friends with their eventual wives, but within 6 months, a year, and then maybe a year and a half later, every single one that was single got married, because we were on one mindset. We had a goal of changing our lives, because the thing is, if your friends don't inspire you to want to be better, that's not a good friend anyway, whether you want to be married or not. If they're not inspiring you to be a better person, to better your character as a whole, they're not good friends, period.
Man, that's deep. Yeah. So that's okay. It's interesting to see that happened to you too. But yeah. So again, that was the same thing. My friends, the single ones, yes, we were of one mind. And then even now, it's like I have single friends, and we're slowly but surely going through the power of a praying wife. So it's like, okay, now you still got to do the same thing. You just do it in a different context, right? Yeah. And then obviously I was hanging around married women trying to glean and trying to take some notes. But I love how you really spoke to, ultimately you want to make sure that what you're doing is laddering up to your ultimate goal if you want to be married. And then also I loved how you touched upon something that I think oftentimes isn't really talked about a lot, of like would you marry yourself at the end of the day? Like, would you marry yourself? Like, are you bringing all the baggage right to the relationship, and you're expecting somebody to take it? And if you don't like yourself and if you don't like what you have to bring to the table, then you can't expect somebody else to like it. And that's where it does require some introspection. It does require you being honest with yourself and working on those, whether it's, character flaws, bad habits. Sometimes it can be as practical as losing weight. Other times it can be an attitude thing that really you need to really pray through and maybe do some counseling, maybe do some therapy. But preparation is real.
Yeah. Finance too. I think that's another thing that we don't prepare for as singles. That okay, if you have a really bad spending habit, you bring those habits into your marriage. So work on, your Dunkin' and your Starbucks habits and eating out every day and change that into you being a better cook and more financially savvy.
Absolutely. That's real. If I'm not mistaken, I think they say finances is like
What ends up being the reason why people get divorced the most.
yes, and then especially now, post COVID. Well, I don't even know if you can say that because in some places you still hear it, but just kind of COVID economy pandemic, people are more stretched than ever. You definitely want to make sure that you are being prudent with your finances as much as possible. That's for sure, because that adds a whole extra avenue of stress that you don't want, that already exists when you're trying to just get along with the person.
Yes, and you have a goal to be a homemaker, that you have to be financially savvy. You can't be spending up all the money, child.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, so back, going a little bit into this idea of, a woman honoring herself or honoring her husband, respecting her husband all of the days of her life.
Yeah.
I'm curious,